liftoff and the clock has started.
Today is April 1st, 2019. I keep wanting this to be an April Fool's joke, but I really don't see a way for this to be funny. But it's not a joke, it is actually real. So as we all know, Nipsey Hussle has been taken away from, away from the people on yesterday, or either on, I think it's yesterday, which was Sunday, or either Saturday. I'm thinking it was on yesterday, on Sunday. And it's terrible, man. It's real terrible. Ever since I've heard this news, I've just been wanting to get someone to say it's just a joke. It's an April Fool's joke, but it's not a joke. It's real. It's all over the internet. It's real. Heartbreaking to hear. Not saying that anyone deserves to be killed, but this is a man that has matured past a certain level of, activity that, a young 18, 19, 20, year old young guy would be doing that would get theirself killed. The big question here is, was this a assassination? Or was this, payback for, some gang activity? Either or is real tragic. For someone to do this and the selfishness of taking this person away from, his I'm not sure if they're married. I think they're on their way to be married, I'm not sure. But his beautiful wife, fiance, girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, Laura London. It's just bad, man. It's just real bad for that. But I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate a little bit, because the things that we do when we plan this what we call keeping it real and this street life. This is something that over and over again it just has showed to be a destructive path to be on. Everybody wants to be the street hero. Everybody wants to be loved from their hood, have everybody give them love. Everybody in the hood, as they say, everybody in my hood fuck with me. I'm the man around my hood. But it's always gonna be one out of that bunch that is gonna have that negative hate towards you. And that's the most dangerous. Because once that seed is planted in that one person's mind, all the rest of the people around you are easily influenced once they start to hear the hate start to fester up in people's mind. You know, you could have something as simple as, you know, you have your whole crew with you, everybody, you know, jury, clothes, you goddamn, we smoking big, you know what I'm saying? And this one guy, he doesn't get the recognition he feels like he deserves from everybody. So so that turns into hate. He don't like you no more because you at the top of the food chain amongst the people who you run with. So he feels like he got to knock you from that space. You know what I mean? And that's a very dangerous game to be in. You know, this rap game that has become the predominantly pursued career for young black males is really a path of destruction, because we're starting to see more and more violence erupting in the rap game, more and more deaths coming from the rap game. Basically, we've just traded in the dope game for the rap game. You know, this is getting to be just like how the dope game was. You know, it's still the streets. You know, you have you have guys that they're trading in the money for dope, and they're putting it into hustling of their music. But in my eyes, this is just in my eyes, the dope game was over 10, 15 years ago. This day and time, before you go out and you're gonna make $250,000 or, you know, $500,000 selling dope, you're gonna be on the police radar. Someone's gonna tell on you. It won't be long before you'll be going to prison for a good long time if you out here still trying to sell dope. And the same thing with this rap game. This rap game is coming to an end. They took the CDs away, so you're not really hustling the CDs, you know. In some rural areas, you know, you still are able to get a little bit of money off CDs, but everything is online streaming now. And you're not able to really create you're not really able to create a long-term career from rap. You have to have something else going on. And this is what Nipsey Hussle was creating for himself. He was putting himself in a position to where he could be looked at as a cultural leader, not just someone who's, you know, receiving a lot of attention from rap. Because today I just happened to ask a few people, have they heard about what happened to Nipsey Hussle? Yeah, man, that's messed up, man. That's messed up how they did Nipsey Hussle, right? And I'm not mad at these people for this, right? But it's just something that I thought of that I thought I would bring to the attention of people. What is your favorite Nipsey Hussle song? A lot of people have never heard a Nipsey Hussle song. And there's nothing wrong with that, because in my eyes, Nipsey Hussle is just a person that I wanted to see win, no matter what he was doing. You know, if he was having a spit contest, you know, let's see who can spit the furthest. You know, it was just the man's character and the energy that he portrayed off was one of those energies to where you just want to see this person win. You know, whatever you're doing, I just want you to be successful in what you're doing. And obviously what he was doing was bringing, you know, a lot of attention to show that he was being successful with the business mind that he was creating for himself, or had created for himself. You know, because he probably had this mentality for the majority of his life, but it takes time and events for the display of the mental mind and the train of thought to process into reality before you can actually see the beauty of a person's mind come to life. It takes time for that to happen. It is not something that's just noticed by you looking at a person and saying, yes, they have a beautiful mind. It takes events, time, and cultivation of thought for that to come into reality before you realize how beautiful of a mind someone has, by the things that they put together in reality, the things that they do for people, you know, the things that are put in place so that people can actually have a better life for themselves. So the question would be now is, you know, was this a government assassination? Was this a random, you know, retaliation from, you know, gang activity? You know, Nipsey Hussle was on a video a little while ago where, you know, he smacked the guy. I'm not sure the event that he was at, but he smacked the guy, you know, and in the video it was kind of like justifiable what he did, but at the same time, this guy didn't put his hands on Nipsey. You know, Nipsey put his hands on him. So we always have to take into account, you know, our actions. You know, you're being watched, you know, for your actions, and you have to be accountable for that. You know, another thing too is, I mean, you have cameras all over the place. Maybe it's still early. You know, maybe there will be footage that'll come out later that will show the person who committed this act. You know, a guy said yesterday, I'm not sure how true this is, but, you know, he was shot 4 times in the body and once in the head. I've been around, you know, and most of the time when people are doing a retaliation type of shooting, they don't get that up close and personal. You know, if a person walks up and they get that close enough to shoot you, they may shoot you once, twice and run off. But for someone to, you know, shoot that person in that manner, that makes it a little bit more personal. It makes it a little bit more of a message being sent. It makes it a little bit more of, this is payback for this. I am doing what I'm doing to you in this way in payback for this, what you did over here in this way, is what my first thoughts were when I heard that. You know, this destructive mentality that we all want to identify with as being a gangster. Oh, don't test my gangster, don't test my gangster. But what we really are doing is imitating the Italians when they, you know, because the Italians were really doing the gangster, you know, the gangster lifestyle 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, you know what I'm saying, 60 years ago. You know, when you had these guys that were really, you know, really living by rules and principles and morals. You know what really separates the La Cosa Nostra, all of these different people that were involved in these gangster lifestyles that the rap community and black people have seemed to adopt it, is you have these people that produce this drug, whether it be cocaine, heroin, crack, whatever. They brought this drug or this poisonous chemical, they brought it in to provide it to black people for destruction. Okay? Now, black people sell this destructive chemical to each other. And yes, you do have certain blacks that they do sell these destructive chemicals, drugs as we would call them. They do have, their clientele where they sell this stuff to, whites here, whites or Asians there, Spanish people here. But on a mass level, you don't have cocaine being produced by a black community that's being sold to another community or another race of people. You don't have a predominantly ran place like Colombia, okay, where you have Spanish people in Colombia that are producing kilos of cocaine that are ending up on the damn streets of America that are destroying, it's just obliterating, or however you say that word. It's just tearing up black communities. There's a car company. I don't want to say car company, but it's a car company. They do the pimp my ride, so to speak, right? And a few months ago, I was just sitting and riding, and a guy pulled up beside me at the light, and he had the logo of the place where he got his car souped up at. He had the big rims on his car, had his car painted. He had the stereo system in his car, the rims, the tint, and things like that on his car. And it just made a thought come to me. How much money did you collect from the neighborhood that you're from and the people in the neighborhood where you're from to take over here to this Pimp My Ride place for them to put all of this shiny stuff on your car to make your car look like a cash cow, and you look like, hey, I'm big time because I drew all the money from the people in my neighborhood and put it in a big bag and carried it over here to this man and dropped it on his counter and said, hey, look at me, I'm the man in my neighborhood. Charge me whatever you want to charge me. Paint my car this color, put this size rims on my car, put this size speakers in my car, put this many TVs in my car, put this type of interior in my car, and call me when it's finished. Any problems you have with it, just let me know, because hey, I got money. I can pay for whatever it is that I need to pay for once you start to, put your ideas into my car. Now, this man who's running this shop, he could care less that you are thinking that you're being labeled as the man in your neighborhood. He could care less. As long as you're bringing that money to him when he tells you, hey, that paint that you wanted, that's gonna be about $4,500. The rims you wanted, it's gonna be about $8 grand. Stereo system, gonna run you about $3 grand. TVs, gonna run you about $4 grand. And the only thing you can do is, oh man, yeah, no problem, I got you. You counting dollars off. Why? Because you done sucked up all the money from out of the neighborhood, all the resources from the neighborhood. We don't realize that when it's going on, but that's what's happening. You know what I mean? With Nipsey Hussle, the way that he was trying to transform, that routine of the money in the neighborhood just coming from the front doorstep of, the hard-working black man, ending up into the hands of someone who could care less that you were a hard-working black man, and you had to have that dollar be your bottom line in order for you to take care of your children and live inside your household. That they could care less. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of whether or not this was a government assassination or this was a retaliation, it's all part of the same system. Because this system has been set up for you to eat and be eaten by the same system that you're trying to eat off of. You'll eat off the system today, and tomorrow the system will eat off of you. It's kind of like the Leviathan logo. If anyone is unfamiliar with the Leviathan logo, it's the snake that eats his own tail. And as he eats his tail, his body grows back. Okay? But he's constantly going in a circle, eating his own tail. So it's a revolving door, the crab in the bucket, whatever you want to call it. Okay? This system is set up to where you're not going to come out of it on top by trying to be the hood hero. Okay? You're not. It's not designed for it to be like that. This thing is designed to do one thing. That's to destroy lives, destroy neighborhoods, destroy families. That's it. And the forerunner for this now is the rap game. Okay? Every 3 to 4 years, you'll see how they'll push another rapper that's between the ages of, I would say, 17 to 24 with a strong enough destructive personality. You'll push him right out in the front. Push it right on out in the front. We ain't worry about them right there who can rap kind of good and they talking about something. Forget what they talking about. Push this ignorant person out in the front that has a strong enough destructive personality, because we need the rest of these young fellas to follow in the footsteps of this guy so that we can fill these prisons up. You know, last year they said that North Carolina prisons, the people who invested in prisons last year were upset because there wasn't enough people in prison. They were losing money, you know. So we need some more inmates in this prison. Pretty much is what they were saying. It's real tragic. You know, last week we had 3 murders. 3 murders last week that were senseless. Just like this Nipsey Hussle situation. Right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We had 3 senseless murders last week. You know, one was done by the police. Okay? One was done as innocent bystander. You know? The last one slips my mind right now, but there were 3 back to back. I mean, it was just terrible, man. Just terrible. The week before that, you know, we can all say, oh, we need to get rid of guns, and you know, the guns are really what's killing our community. But at what point do we have to say we have to keep our guns, because we have to protect ourselves against people who have an interest in doing destruction to us? You know what I mean? Like you can't just eliminate guns out of the equation. You have to get what's up here fixed in the minds of the people, because in the 60s when the Black Panthers took up guns, you know, it was a whole different narrative then, because their mentality supported the reason for having these guns. So we wasn't going out and shooting and killing each other with these guns. We were using these guns as a form of protection for what? For the mentality that you're carrying. You know what I mean? You have to protect the mentality that you're carrying. So then you must tote that firearm, because people feel intimidated once they see that you have a mentality that will cause change. And that's what's going on, I believe, with the Nipsey Hussle situation. His mentality was causing change. I almost want to equate this to the Tupac situation, because he was just about as influential or as genuine hearted as a person as the Tupac was. And this senseless killing almost as effective as the Tupac killing. You know, a lot of people been saying it's finna get real bad in the, you know, the area that he come from because of this. There'll probably be some retaliation. But I mean, according to who's responsible for this, you know, who knows where to go retaliate at? Are we gonna retaliate against the government if it's a government operation? Probably not. Probably not. We all know niggas ain't gonna bust no grape unless they gotta bust it against the nigga that stay next door. Because at this point, blacks in America have been whooped into shape to where we don't have no more fight. The fight is gone. You know, like, you may feel that I'm wrong in saying that. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But blacks in America, the fight has been taken out of you. Black people would rather buy shoes, buy clothes, buy jewelry, look good, and say, hey, it's not my issue. You know, I got to make sure I stay looking good. I stay in my nice looking house. And that's not my issue. You know, I could care less if it's not my child that's being harmed and you know, it's not directly on my doorstep. You gotta pass me by with that, because I ain't got the time. So again, I'm Mr. Burn One, man. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle, man. I'm out of here.